Guys, at this point, I hope you've watched the previous video. I'm not going to get into that again in terms of how to format this correctly, making sure it's ready. So I'm just going to plow ahead and assume you've all watched the previous video. Okay, here we go. So here's what you're going to do. You're going to go to File, and we're going to not work on this file when we do this. We're going to save a copy. So go to Save a Copy, and you're going to call this, I recommend like something, don't just call it something generic like, landscape card, laser, or whatever. I need to know that it's by you. So give me like your last name, maybe your first initial, and, you can call this laser, right? So something kind of more specific like that. Hit save and say okay. And you're going to notice that it still says landscape card up here. What it doesn't do is open up your file. So you have to go to File, open recent files, and you'll see it's at the way top up there. And when it pops up here, it looks exactly like the one I had before, but you'll see I have two tabs. That's the original file, and this is a laser file. So I'm going to work directly on the laser file, not on the original file, because I'm going to radically alter this. All right, I'm going to go through this very quickly. You're going to go to the artboard tool, which is right here, or Shift O. And what you're going to want to do, rats, and you can't see this, but you see where it says width up here, there's a height over here. So I'm going to change my width to 23.9. I know that's like, why not 24? I found that if you make something exactly 24, sometimes the laser cutter says it's too big for the laser and it doesn't print it. So if we make it just a little bit smaller, problem solved. So 23.9, and then your height, and sorry you can't see this, but if I double click on the laser, there, I'll just do it this way. I'm going to change my height to 8. Okay, so width 23.9, height 8, okay. And Command minus, and you should see something that looks like that. And what you'll do, of course, is take all of your different layers. And what I recommend is, for example, if I'm working on the foreground, I'll grab that, right? Maybe object group, just to make life easier. Do this again with the middle ground. Looks like I've got some extra stuff on the side that I don't want to move. Object group. Do the same thing now with the background. Just trying to work smarter, not harder in the long run. Guess I have a lot of stuff I have to move around. Object group, yay. And finally, background 2. So once again, object group, yay. All right, so once I have all that done, I'm going to unlock all these, and I'll just go directly to my foreground, and I can click that and move that over. So there it is. And I'll do the same thing now with my middle ground, move it over. And this is where it gets a little bit more interesting. I'm going to talk to you about that in a minute, because I am realizing now that the placement of these is kind of weird. And what I mean by that is when I move these around, go to background, come on background, see how like I'm running out of room? The reason why is because when I go back to the original file, I see that I actually went over my artboard. So let me show you how to solve that problem. On here, we're going to create what's called a guide. So you go to View, Rulers, Show Rulers. Okay, so you can see I have rulers up here. So obviously if I'm dealing with 24 inches across, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a guide at 6, 12, and 18. So how do I do that? I come over to the side with my selection tool. So I'm drawing on this part of the ruler, and I mouse down and I drag, and this creates what's called a guide. And I can put the guide where I want to, and I'm lining it up with the 6-inch mark. If I goof that up, I can move it around again. So it's not, oops, well, it's not the end of the world. Looks like it's doing something weird there. So that's my 6-inch guide. Here's my 12. And here's my 18. Yay. Okay. And I can clearly see that I have some problems already. So I'm going to move this over. So this one's just lined up. That's pretty easy. Anything going off the artboard is fine. So when I move over my car, I can see that the car is going to give me some trouble. So what I'm going to need to do, and hopefully you remember this, is I need to cut off this part right over here. Here's the easiest way I know how. Go to this tool, the rectangle tool, go past the guide. So in other words, I'm chopping off this little section right here, and I'm going to draw a shape. It doesn't really matter what the shape looks like. I just want to make sure the shape is bigger than this shape right here. and then I'll select this shape and this shape. And you can see that if I go to Shape Builder, and remember if I hold down the Option key on my keyboard, I get a little minus, and I click, and see it cuts that off. Yay, so life is good. And then I can take this and I can line it up whenever I want to. So, and I'll just go ahead and keep going. So I'll go over to this one, and once again, now if I get something like this, you see how it's like overlapping right here, but it doesn't seem to be getting in the way. That's fine, although I'm going to flip this in just a minute. So I actually do recommend, like maybe I'm going to be lazy about it and just move it up over here if I don't mind where that is. But then on this side, I'll just go ahead again and take this and grab this shape. And if I hold down the Shift key and grab this shape, because if I grab all this, see it grabs everything. I don't want it to do that. You know, an easy way to solve that problem is I just select middle ground and lock it so it doesn't accidentally grab this. And again, it's pretty repetitive. Shape Builder, Option key, minus, minus, problem solved. And last one. So again, take my background, I'm going to move it over, and I'm kind of lining it up. See that? Like I think I'll bring this one past a little bit so it's up higher. Don't worry about all the space down here. I'm going to show you how to solve that problem in no time. But just lining this up here. But again, there's my problem again. So I don't want to accidentally select my middle ground. So I will click on that and lock that. Grab a shape. And again, and I'm going to go ahead and go to Shape Builder and Option, minus, minus. I'll do the same thing. You know what, that's such a small, there's nothing over there, I don't mind. That works for me. Okay, so yeah, so I'm happy with that. I'm noticing now though, I don't know why, but these buildings don't have windows. And oopsie, edit undo. So, you know, obviously I'm noticing some weird stuff. Oop, whoopsie, happened there. So I'm gonna pop this back in. Oops, I'm clicking on the wrong thing and I'm, okay. So I'm pretty happy with that. All right. Okay, so there's my design. And I'll show you in the next video what to do after this, but everything at least fits. So we're good.